Dear friends, dear ladies and gentlemen, to speak about Jura Soyfer in English means to speak about a freedom fight, because the interest of translating Jura Soyfer was the interest in literary texts which were important for the fight against fascism, National Socialism, but also later on against colonialism, racism, and other anti-democratic movements. The first effort to distribute Soyfer texts in English was by John Lehmann. John Lehmann came to Vienna and wanted to learn Russian language by Jura Soyfer. The background was that John Lehmann wanted to understand the new literature in the Soviet Union. We have now in presence a theater play by Tony Britton, and Tony Britton shows very well this meeting between Jura Soyfer and John Lehmann. John Lehmann was editor of New Writing in London, and there we will find some texts of Jura Soyfer in English. These texts were later on translated from English into German, and they are now part of that was found of the novel from Jura Soyfer, So Dies a Party. So this translation on the one hand were a view on the freedom fight in Austro-fascist Austria. But on the other hand, it was also a conservation, because until now we didn't find the other parts of the novel. There are still possibilities, but until now we have the novel only in parts. Important was for the distribution of Jura Soyfer not only the translations, but also the text in German. Jana Wittlinger wrote her dissertation about the exile theater of Austrians in England, and this was very important to understand that Austrian culture got known in England in a very important way. And also about this, we have reflections from Tony Britton. So there is a bridge between the past of the 1930s, 1940s, and the present. Because Jura Soyfer died in concentration camp Buchenwald on 16th February 1939. But by now, his works are translated in over 50 languages, and there is an introduction about these translations in very different forms in this series about Jura Soyfer in languages of the world. That what we have also after 1945 are the documents as UN Charter, UN Declaration of Human Rights, the founding documents of the European Union, the documents against slavery, and also against colonialism. This is very important in this time because there is the effort by a lot of warriors to break with this knowledge about two world wars which were lost by warriors, and millions were dead, not only in the First and in the Second World War, but later on also colonial suppression in Africa, Latin America, Asia, were combined with crimes, with millions of deaths. So when we look about the translation of Jura Soyfer later on, it is Sc.Dir.Dr who translated nearly all the work of Jura Soyfer in English. First, a part was published in Montreal, but then there was a conference in 1992 with the title Jura Soyfer and His Time. This conference got possible because former attaché of culture of Austrian embassy, Peter Marbo, brought some people together. This was Donald G. DeVio from the University of California at Riverside, and this was me from the Jura Soyfer Society. And then we wanted to create a totally new forum for Jura Soyfer. It was the first time that someone from St. Petersburg came to the University of California at Riverside in 1992. Alfredo Bauer, who translated Jura Soyfer into Spanish, came from Buenos Aires. And we had Tamás Schlichtmann from Hungary, who also participated at this conference. And hundreds of colleagues who teach Austrian literature at universities in USA. So this was a very great conference, also because of Otto Tausig, because Otto Tausig played alone about 27 roles of Broadway melody 1492. Very great what he did, great applause. And this was a big impression, and Donald G. DeVio edited then the translations of Horst Jarka of Jura Soyfer and published them in Ariadne Press. Ariadne Press, this was a publisher, and coordinator was Professor Donald G. DeVio, and there were hundreds of Austrian texts which were translated into English and then distributed in USA. It was great that this was also possible for the text of Jura Soyfer. Further on, these translations played a role not only in England or in USA, but also in other countries of the world because of the distribution, but more important are also the translations. The translations, for example, in Zulu, this is based on the English translation of Jura Soyfer, and this played a role at the G20 Summit 2025 in South Africa. A very important summit also because of that we have now new forms, but we will see how this will go on with G20, because USA as the chair for the next G20 summit, and this summit shall be in USA, but excluded South Africa. We will see what further will be possible with Jura Soyfer in English. But it is clear that this is not only an effort for a new literature, a new aesthetics, and this is still a new aesthetics in the year 2026, because the text of Jura Soyfer understood communication in a new form. It is not the case that in the time of Jura Soyfer exists internet, but we have the telegraph chanson by Jura Soyfer in his play The End of the World. And this play, first performed 1936 in Austro-Fascist Vienna, was also a play which is important in Hollywood now. We have the connections to Hollywood by Leon Askin. Leon Askin was a member of the Oscar committee in Los Angeles, but he was also the director who played first in 1936 the End of the World of Jura Soyfer, and he later on, until his death, was also one of the artists who were fascinated by Jura Soyfer and his aesthetics. So we will try to have in 2026 a new public which shall make it possible that what we have on translations in over 50 languages will be distributed in a new way. And we will try this in partnership with the Austrian Press Agency and their service, original text service. There are the possibilities to distribute our thoughts about Jura Soyfer and the word in English, in Arabian language, in a lot of other languages. And we will see if this will be financed and made possible. I thank you very much. It is an honor that you made this reception. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.